Welcome back to the channel. For those of you that don't know, my name's Joe, and this channel's all about documenting my healing process. It started off talking a lot about ADHD and my diagnosis of ADHD, but I've been carrying on the journey, man. I've just been putting in the work. And the reason I've been putting in the work is because I've had various failed relationships, and there's only so many times you can blame another person. Not that I'm about that. I'm all for looking inward. I think that's what I would recommend everyone does. But I needed to do some work, and part of my crux was the fact I wasn't emotionally in tune. I wasn't in tune with my own emotions. So I'm going to document various steps of how I've become more in tune with my emotions, and this is still an ongoing process. I've had a coach now, like a life coach, who's been talking me through all this stuff and guiding me for 10 weeks. I think it's just coming up to 11 weeks. And it's been life-changing. It really has been life-changing. But today I want to talk to you about being there for yourself. Now, I remember having a therapy session about 2-3 years ago, and the therapist said to me, "Joe, what are your needs?" And I said, my only needs are I want an easy life, I want to go to the gym, and I just want to spend time with my daughter. That's what I thought my needs were. And he almost laughed at me. A big smile come across his face, and I didn't get it. It took me about 2 years to really get why he found that so funny. Because genuinely, I thought they were my needs. And that's because I was so out of tune with my own needs and emotions. But one of the biggest things you can do for yourself is be there for yourself. And the reason I mentioned about my needs and me saying about going to the gym is because I used to think me going to the gym, I do spend an hour, 2 hours, probably 3-4 times a week in the gym. And I see that as me time. And there's a lot of that does really, really help my ADHD, for one. Also, puts me in a great mental state, puts me in a great frame of mind. So I am doing that for myself, but I think there's a difference between that and actually being with your emotions. When I look back on my life, I'm 37, I'm very nearly 38, probably 38 actually when this comes out, but as I'm recording this, I'm 37, I'm clinging on to these younger years. But when I look back at my life was full of distractions, and the main distraction I used was females. Throughout my whole life, well, since the age of about 12, I've either had a girlfriend, I've been talking to someone, I've been just freshly dating someone, chasing someone, or in a full-time relationship. That has been the story of my life. And it's a distraction. And even after my recent breakup, the first thing I wanted to do was go and find another girl. And I didn't think that was a problem. And I think sometimes we can be caught up. I'm from the military, yeah. So I'm from the military. I'm in an engineering job, so I'm full of testosterone driven men. And also I had a large part of my life, pretty much all of my life, partying and going out. So you can imagine a lot of my friends are very much they want to talk about girls and getting drunk and having a good time and partying. So that we were constantly surrounded by this this environment, but we just need to be there for ourselves. And when my coach said this to me, honestly, it took me weeks to work it out. I was like, right, do I need to get a new hobby? What do I need to do? I went mad, and I was like, I need a structure. I was like, I need to have a club on Thursday at this time, otherwise I'm not going to do it for myself, and blah, 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 blah. But the way I did it is I meditated, and meditation is incredible. Absolutely incredible. There's a video, probably should have come out before this, about meditation. Absolutely phenomenal. And 6 months to a year ago, if you'd told me I was meditating, I would not have believed you. I would not have believed you at all. But it's really, really good. Just that stillness and that moment of just not consuming yourself with something else, whether that's work, whether that's your family, whether that's girls, I don't know, whether it's social media, whatever it is, that time is your time. And that's very powerful. But what I also like to do is go for walks. Now, even if I've just got a spare 5 minutes, sometimes I've got my daughter, and while she's eating her breakfast, if she's being looked after by her granddad, I'll quickly nip out while she's eating her breakfast, and I've got 10 minutes. And there's a little park near me, and I'll go up there. Sometimes if I'm feeling really crazy, I'll take my shoes off and I'll walk barefoot in the grass. And while I'm doing it, I'm not on my phone. Don't be doing this stuff and being on your phone, because you're distracting yourself. Just think about you and how you're feeling. Think about whatever comes up, but just be there for you and your feelings. Now, when you are out there doing this stuff for you, be compassionate to yourself. For me, if I was hung up on a certain situation, a certain person, whatever it was, don't say, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, Joe, you shouldn't be thinking about this, blah, 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 blah. Say to yourself, it's good that you're having these feelings. That's because you're a good person. That's because you cared. That doesn't mean you're not enough. You are enough. Be compassionate. Some of this stuff sounds like crazy, spiritual, wacky, but think of it. Like, if you're not nice to yourself, like, how do you expect other people to be nice to you? How do you expect your brain to be nice to you? And then what you're projecting you're projecting all this negativity, like you're breeding these negative thoughts within your brain. And I get it, it does sound very woo-woo. It really does. And trust me, if anybody thinks it's woo-woo, I do as well, or I used to. But you've really just got to be there and just let yourself think. Just think about stuff. And try and guide yourself to think about positive things as well. Think about things you're happy for. Like, genuinely, I'll walk around the field sometimes, I'm just happy to be alive. And it's crazy because where I'm at in life, materially, I've gone from living in my dream house to having my dream car. I had the family, loads of holidays every year, good job, good friends. And now I'm living in my stepdad's house in a spare bed, which subsequently used to be my mum's, who's no longer with us. I'm struggling financially because I'm providing for my ex-partner. But I'm just the happiest. And when you can be grateful, when you can just have a walk and be there in your own thoughts and just be happy, just try and bring your brains to think about these happier things. It's just nice to get out and walk. It's nice to be free and be in your own brain and just be there for yourself. Yeah, so I definitely would recommend that. Find out what's your thing though. Your thing might be running. Your thing might be cycling. I'm not entirely sure what other things that you could suggest. Some people might want to do quizzes and crosswords. Some people might want to read. Whatever it is, the only thing I'd encourage you to do is be in that environment where you're thinking. And we'll get onto some of this other stuff, but I've got an abandonment wound. So deep down in my subconscious, something's telling me I'm not enough. Or something, let me change the tense of that. Something was telling me I'm not enough. But when I go for a walk, I tell myself I'm enough. And I give myself examples. Don't just tell yourself enough, I'm just going to tell myself I'm enough. I'm going to tell myself I'm a millionaire, I'm going to be a millionaire. I actually say to myself, you are enough, because when you showed up in this situation, you acted with kindness, compassion, showed love. I go through these examples in my head. I tell myself that I'm enough. Whatever your deep-rooted core belief is about yourself, and that's something you need to find out, by the way. And you need to dig into the harder stuff to find out what the subconscious is thinking. But tell yourself why you are enough. And it's going to take time. I've been doing this now for 10 weeks. Every day I go out and I tell myself I'm enough, and I give myself an example why I'm enough. But just be there for yourself. Be conscious of distracting yourself. Now, sometimes I'll work away and I'll sit in my hotel room where I'm at now, and I'll just watch a series on my iPad. And that's cool. Sometimes I can sort of have a bit of thinking time during that. I am distracting myself still, but I would avoid things such as scrolling through social media, dating apps, if you're single. I'll go on to dating apps. I'm probably going to do another video on it, because dating apps I think if you've got ADHD and you've got an abandonment wound and you're working through that, and you don't feel that subconsciously you don't feel like you're enough, dating apps are the devil, honestly. I'll come on some deep shit I worked out about myself in another video about that. But yeah, I had a really big realisation about dating apps. And yeah, I broke down. I'm not afraid to say it. I broke down and cried to my coach. But you know, for someone that never had their emotions, only cried once when their dad died, for me to realise that thing about myself and cry and go to this deep place, that's a big thing. And that's from doing this work. And it is hard. Like, if you're going to do everything that I'm going to mention the videos on, like, it's hard. It will take you to some deep places. You'll feel lonely as hell. But you need to go there. Otherwise, you're going to be in the same patterns. And, you know, if you're watching this video, you got this far, you're clearly in some sort of cycle that you don't want to be in. But the good news is, it's fixable. And it doesn't take that long. Honestly, I've had amazing results in the 10 weeks. Crazy results. I've still got some way to go, like I said, but give me another 10 weeks. I think I'm almost going to be there. And you know, like, no one's ever going to be perfect. I'm not striving for perfect, but when you know that in any situation, you can deal with your own emotions, you can soothe yourself, you can calm yourself down and make you realise what the right thing is to do where you're not emotionally driven. When you can set boundaries in relationships, when you're not people pleasing. These are all really good things that are going to stand you in good stead for life. So yeah, that's the end of the video. Please do like, comment, share, subscribe. If you have got any questions from anything that I've said that's generated any thoughts, feelings, or just some questions, please do stick them down below. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. So I'll see you in the next one.